Are you trying to learn clawhammer banjo, but you just can't get the right hand motion? Well, today we are going to fix that. Hey you guys, I'm Johnny Banjo with the Banjo-phile. Thanks for stopping by. So one of the biggest issues I hear with beginner clawhammer banjo players or would-be clawhammer banjo players is that they just can't get that right hand motion. And I've even met folks who said that they tried to play clawhammer banjo and gave up on it because they just couldn't get that motion. And that's really unfortunate. So there's really only two things that make clawhammer banjo. Contrary to what you might have heard, contrary to what people might try to tell you, only two things. One is the right hand motion, which I call the clawhammer stroke, for lack of a better term, and the bum-diddy rhythm pattern. And that's it. You might hear people trying to tell you that it has to do with the kind of music that you're playing. That clawhammer banjo has to be used to play old-time music, which means old folk music, fiddle tunes, murder ballads, that kind of thing. Or you might hear people telling you that it entails playing in alternate modes. So the Locrian or Phrygian or Mixolydian mode. Or you might hear people telling you it's a certain kind of banjo, that it entails playing only on an open back banjo with a scoop in the neck or whatever it might be. It's none of that stuff. It is nothing more than a technique for playing the 5-string banjo. Clawhammer is just a technique for playing the 5-string banjo. And like I said, it has two components, the right hand motion, the clawhammer stroke, and also the bum-diddy pattern. So let's start by talking about Christmas trees, actually. I'm sure you've seen lots of Christmas trees in your lifetime, as have I. But what makes a Christmas tree? What makes it a Christmas tree? I mean, I've seen all kinds of Christmas trees. I've seen ones that are really tall, ones that are really short, ones that are really full, ones that are really sparse, ones that have been decorated in very fancy glass ornaments, ones that have very simple handmade wooden ornaments. They're all Christmas trees, and they all look nice in their own way. What makes them a Christmas tree? What is the foundational component of a Christmas tree? Well, I would say it's a tree in the house. Once you cut down a tree and bring it in the house, you got yourself a Christmas tree. Everything else is ornamentation. Everything else is up to your taste. How you decorate your tree and how I decorate my tree is going to be different. But we both have a Christmas tree because underlying all the decoration and ornamentation, there's a tree in the house. And that's what makes it a Christmas tree. If you don't have the tree, if you got a bunch of ornaments but no tree, you don't have a Christmas tree, right? You need the tree in the house to make it a Christmas tree. You certainly decorate your tree different from me, but that's just a reflection of different people's tastes, right? We have different ideas about what a Christmas tree can look like, what we want our own Christmas tree to look like, different tastes. And we're making different artistic decisions about how to ornament our trees or how much to ornament them. Clawhammer banjo is the same as the Christmas tree. The clawhammer stroke, that is the right hand motion, and the bum-diddy pattern form your clawhammer tree. You have to have those things or you don't have clawhammer. Once you got those things, you got clawhammer, and everything else is just ornamentation. Now, if you cut down a tree and you bring it in your house, you got a Christmas tree, but it's not a very nice Christmas tree. And if you've got a clawhammer stroke and a bum-diddy pattern, you're playing clawhammer banjo, but it's not very nice without additional ornamentation. And you've got lots of options for additional ornamentation. There's various left-hand techniques, such as hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, alternate string pull-offs, triplets, chimes. And you have various options for right-hand ornamentation, such as double thumbing, drop thumb, brushes, rolls, the Galax lick, and skip notes. And there are others as well. So just like we can make different artistic choices about how to decorate our Christmas tree, but there has to be a tree underlying it, we can make different choices about how to ornament our clawhammer playing, but there needs to be the basic clawhammer stroke and bum ditty pattern underlying it for it to be clawhammer banjo. And I keep talking about these elements, the clawhammer stroke and the bum ditty pattern, as if they're two separate things, but they're really not. They're really two sides of the same coin. It's really one thing. If you think about the very fundamentals of what makes the clawhammer stroke, what makes it unique, it's the fact that it's down-picked, only and always down-picked, and that you're using your hand in a very gross way. It's not fine motor coordination. You're using your hand kind of like a club to strike the strings, with the back of the fingernail of one finger being the striking surface. And so if you're doing that, if that's your technique, you're going to be doing that on the downbeats, right? And that is going to emphasize the downbeats. And you're going to do it on every downbeat. And for the upbeats, well, you can use some auxiliary motion of your thumb, or you could use left-hand techniques to play notes on some of the upbeats. So the bum ditty pattern, that driving rhythm pattern, that's the hallmark of clawhammer banjo music, is very much an artifact of the clawhammer stroke technique, the right hand motion technique. And that right hand motion maximizes that rhythm pattern. They're two sides of the same coin. And you have to get that right. You have to get that very solid. And then once you've got that, once you've got the right hand motion and the bum ditty pattern, you got that really down, now you're playing clawhammer banjo. And you make choices about how much ornamentation you want to add and what kind, and it's all good. But first you have to get your clawhammer tree in the house. So given that the clawhammer stroke is so fundamental, I got some good news and some bad news for you. We'll start with the bad news. The bad news is that it is just not a natural or intuitive movement at all. It is hard to get. You will eventually get it, but it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of practice. You are going to struggle with it for a while. That's the bad news. The good news is the same as the bad news. The good news is that's universal. It's hard to get. Everybody struggles with it. It's not just you. Nobody gets it right out of the gate. Not even other fretted instrument players. Not even established banjo players who are coming to clawhammer banjo from some other style, let's say an up-picked style such as Scruggs style. Not even they get it right away. In fact, it's often even harder for them to get the clawhammer stroke because it's so contrary to their current playing style, because it's all down-picked and it emphasizes downbeats. So all your favorite clawhammer banjo players who make it look so easy, they all struggled with this at first, all of them. They may not remember it. It may have been a long time ago, and they may not think that they struggle with it. Oh, but they did. They definitely did. And what all this means is it is not you. There's nothing wrong with you. Do not blame yourself. Do not think that you lack the talent or the ability to do this. Struggling with the clawhammer stroke is normal. And it's going to take some time to get it, just like it takes everyone else some time to get it. But once you do finally get it, the other good news is that it's really all downhill from there. You've mastered the hardest part of clawhammer banjo playing, and now you're a clawhammer player. Now, maybe you're not a particularly good or accomplished or a sophisticated player yet, and to be honest, neither am I. But you are in fact there. You're playing clawhammer banjo because 90% of it is that right hand clawhammer stroke and in the bum ditty pattern. And now you could take all the time in the world adding new tools to your clawhammer tool belt or adding new ornaments to your clawhammer tree, if you will, experimenting with different left hand and right hand techniques to expand and enrich your playing. Or you might spend a long time just being perfectly happy with simple, straightforward, basic bum ditty playing, and that's fine too. But first, you just got to get over the hump of mastering the right hand clawhammer stroke and the associated bum ditty pattern. And like I said, this is a sticking point for many people. And unfortunately, it's one that's not really well addressed in much of the instruction that I've come across, many of the instructional videos that I've come across. Instructors tend to talk about it in a quick, glib way, which is understandable. Nobody wants to watch long, talky videos. But they're really doing it short shrift because this is getting the fundamentals. That's 90% of playing clawhammer. Everything else, like I said, is ornamentation. And it's so important to get those fundamentals. And you could talk about it in a glib way. Like if somebody asks you, how do you put up a Christmas tree? I don't know how to do that. You could say, well, you go out, you cut down a Christmas tree, you put it up in your house, and then you run to talk about all the various ornaments you could put on your tree. And the various options and how to make them and how to hang them and stuff. But I might say, okay, that's you said to start by cutting down a tree and bringing it into my house. That's I need more detail than that. What kind of tree? How big should it be? How fat should it be? Any kind of tree? How do I cut it? Where do I cut it? Do I cut it at the very bottom? Do I cut it higher up? How do I get it into my house? Once I get it in my house, how do I stand it up? What holds it up? Where do I put it? Do I water it? And lots of other questions as well. So yeah, you could give me a very glib answer like that. But that's not helpful if that doesn't help me make sense of it. It's kind of leaving it up to me to make sense of it. So when you hear many of these instructors, they make it sound very easy. They make it look easy. Of course it looks easy to watch somebody who's very well practiced at doing it. It looks easy to you. They explain it in a simple, easy way, and it sounds like this should be easy. And then you go to do it, and you're like, I just don't get it. I can't get it. It should be easy. It sounds easy. It looks easy, and it's not happening, man. It's just not happening. And that's really frustrating. And I think part of that is that you're not getting the depth of instruction you need. It really needs you to take some time and sit with it and really understand what is going on with the clawhammer stroke and with the bum ditty pattern, how that works. Don't rush into putting the ornaments on your tree before you've really firmly put your tree up in your house. So you and me together, let's work on that together. Let's work on getting the clawhammer stroke and the bum ditty pattern firmly in your head and firmly in your hands so that you can then be a clawhammer banjo player and have fun then finding all kinds of ways to decorate your clawhammer tree. So if that's what you've been wanting and that sounds good to you, come with me. I'm going to join you in the next video.